Title: The Heart of the Storm. In the small village of Eldermist, nestled between ancient trees and towering mountains, lived a young woman named Ilara. She was not known for being outspoken or strong, but for her kindness and quiet wisdom. Yet beneath her gentle exterior, Ilara carried a weight of fear that had been passed down through generations. Eldermist was a village that had long been cursed. Every 10 years, a terrible storm would descend upon the land, bringing with it a creature known as the Gale Serpent. The storm would rage for 3 days, and the serpent would terrorize the villagers, stealing crops, destroying homes, and instilling deep fear. No one had ever dared to confront the beast. Instead, they hid and waited for the storm to pass, hoping they would survive. Ilara's family had been one of the few who tried to fight back in the past, but her ancestors had failed. Her grandfather was the last to attempt facing the serpent, and his death had haunted the village. Since then, no one had ever spoken of the serpent in anything but whispers. As the 10th year approached, the villagers grew anxious. The storm was coming again, and everyone feared the inevitable destruction. Ilara, however, felt something stir inside her. She knew that the curse had continued because no one had ever stood up to it. It wasn't just the serpent they feared, it was the fear itself that had kept them in hiding, trapped by their own insecurities. One night, as the wind howled and the first signs of the storm appeared on the horizon, Ilara made a decision. She would confront the serpent herself. She didn't know how she could defeat it, but she knew that the only way to end the cycle of fear was to face it head on. She didn't know how she could defeat it, but she knew that the only way to end the cycle of fear was to face it head on. The next morning, Ilara gathered her courage and left her home. The villagers, upon hearing of her plan, tried to dissuade her. "You cannot defeat the serpent, Ilara. It is too powerful." They cried, but Ilara, with her heart beating loudly in her chest, refused to listen. She had no special weapon, no magical powers, just her will and her belief that courage was not the absence of fear, but the choice to act despite it. Ilara journeyed to the heart of the storm. The wind was fierce, and the rain pounded her face, but she pressed on, her steps never faltering. As she approached the mountain's peak, she saw the serpent, a massive creature made of swirling winds and lightning. It was as terrifying as the stories had described, its eyes glowing with fury. For a moment, Ilara froze. Fear clawed at her insides, threatening to overwhelm her. But then, she remembered what she had learned in her life. The greatest battles are not won by strength alone, but by courage, by the refusal to be defeated by doubt. With that thought, she stepped forward. The serpent roared, its body coiling around her like a storm cloud. But Ilara stood firm. She spoke to it, her voice steady despite the terror she felt. "I am not afraid of you. You have ruled this village foe